Flynn, and as did a lot of other people. They got hit very, very hard. And now they're finding out it was all a big hoax. They're finding out it was a horrible thing. We were spied on. My campaign was spied on. And what they did to so many others is very unfair. And now we found out they're a bunch of dirty cops. And paid for by the DNC, paid for by Hillary Clinton in many cases, and in much. They did a phony dossier. They used the dossier for Pfizer. And now, as you know, the Pfizer court and your top judge is very much involved, and hopefully they're going to do something about it. But these were dirty people, these were bad people, these were evil people, and I hope that someday I'm going to consider it my greatest or one of my greatest achievements, getting rid of them.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we are going to take a look at the latest new Q posts, and we have to ask the question, how deep does the deep state go, and how deep did the coup against President Trump reach? As we look back at the previous administrations, all leading up to where we are today, with a president who is being attacked by an unelected deep state intelligence community who thinks they are more powerful than the democratically elected president of this country. You guys are going to stick around and check out that and a whole lot more. Hi, my name is Craig, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. We're going to get right into what you guys are here for, which is the latest Q posts and the news surrounding it. But before we do that, I always like to thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified as soon as these videos get posted. We're going to jump right into it right now. So the first Q post is 760. It's where we left off. We're picking back up right here. Of course, it talks about holy you know what. Barr asked the question that needed to be asked. What was their agenda after the election? Why did they keep pressing for more FISA abuse? They lie, cheat, and steal from we the people, and they don't give a you-know-what about us, power and control. Todd, with Trump here, the Heinrich, or T Heinrich 22, whatever, great post, great observation, and we're going to watch this clip really quick.
But also, a few weeks ago, I told him that he should spend just as much attention on the post-election period. And I did that because of some of the stuff that Horowitz has uncovered, which to me is inexplicable. Inexplicable. Well, what I said is their case collapsed after the election, and they never told the court, and they kept on getting renewals on these applications. There was documents falsified in order to get these renewals. There was all kinds of withholding of information from the court. And the question really is, what was the agenda after the election that kept them pressing ahead after their case collapsed? This is the President of the United States.
So just to briefly summarize that, what he's saying is that he told John Durham, the U.S. attorney who's now investigating all this criminality, that they needed to investigate why the FBI, the DOJ, and the intelligence community, at the behest of the Obama administration, lied to the courts, the FISA court most specifically, and falsified documents in order to continue investigating a man they knew was innocent, who just so happened to have been elected to be the next president of the United States. I mean, that sums it up pretty good, and I think it tells you everything you need to know about what we're dealing with here. The next one here is a Twitter post by this True Canuck, and this is Brian Stelter, and I thought this was an incredible video. So you read right here, CNN's Brian Stelter is calling out President Trump's retweets this morning of QAnon accounts. He claims this is very unpresidential and is in full-blown panic mode about the president sharing the name of the alleged whistleblower. So here's a few things I thought was really interesting about this. We're going to watch this video really quick, but a few things to pick up on that Brian Stelter says here. He literally says that he can't believe that President Trump tweeted out or retweeted the name of the unsubstantiated whistleblower. I have to ask the question just in this one aspect, beside the fact that they, go on their rants about QAnon and how it's all a conspiracy and all that. We know that line. But he's literally, what Brian Stelter is saying, the President of the United States retweeting, meaning passing on or validating information about the whistleblower's identity is unsubstantiated. When in fact, the President of the United States it would be the most concrete form of substantiation for the claim to figure out the identity of the whistleblower. It's complete and total clown world. These people are literally living in this Orwellian fascist, frame of mind where they think they can just throw people in the memory hole and whatever they say is the truth. So watch this clip and then we'll talk about it.
What the president is tweeting, it's who he's retweeting.
Yeah, and some of these aren't really even people. He's retweeted bots and fan accounts of the conspiracy group, QAnon. CNN's chief media correspondent Brian Stelter joins us now. Brian, we're not going to show the tweets because we don't want to aid in the spread of that junk. But the president has been on a bit of a tear recently.
Yeah, misinformation and disinformation coming from the President of the United States from his Twitter feed. This is not necessarily brand new. We know he's been doing this for years, but it is still galling. It is still shocking. Frankly, it is unprecedented to see dozens of these kinds of posts, anti-Democrat, anti-whistleblower, all of this content that would offend anybody who believes in the basic principles of our democracy. Let me give you an example of what he's been sharing. For the first time, late on Friday night, he posted the alleged name, this unsubstantiated name, of the intelligence community whistleblower. Now, he's posted more than 100 times about the alleged whistleblower, but never actually published what he may think is the name of this person. But that's what he did late on Friday night, sharing a random Twitter user's post that contained this name. Now, of course, CNN and other news outlets do not know the identity of the whistleblower and are not speculating about the person's identity, but clearly the President of the United States wants that to be happening. Apparently, though, sometime overnight, he unshared, unretweeted that post, along with dozens of other posts that he'd been sharing, anti-Democrat, pro-Trump messages, comparing Democrats to rats, calling Nancy Pelosi crazy, that sort of thing. Let me show you what the
So there you have it. You obviously saw Brian Stelter there explaining how you shouldn't trust the president of the United States. You should only trust CNN. And then when the president actually calls out these criminals who are trying to, run a coup against a duly elected president inside of our nation, committing treason and many different other crimes in the process, that we should not listen to them. We should listen to Brian Stelter and fake news CNN, who've lied to us for I don't know how long, and we just continue to have to trust them, that they're the arbiters of truth and justice and morality and society. It's all a joke. These people are a joke and they know it, which is why they attack us more and more every day, because they understand that we are going to expose them for what they are and who they are and what they did. So the next one here is going back. Q first wants us to look at Q post 1764, which is right here. And it goes back and it talks about Nicholas Rasmussen and the former National Counterterrorism Center director. It tells us how to track the connections between No Name, Hussein, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, and Susan Rice, and how they were all visiting around that time to orchestrate this whole fake investigation, fake hoax insurance policy against President Trump. They were setting him up with spies and wiretaps, and they were putting people into his campaign, trying to get him on a mic saying something bad about President Trump. They were looking at all their emails. They were basically violating every one of President Trump's and the people associated with his campaign's civil rights in the process of trying to frame him, to try to get dirt on him, to try to remove him from office, because they have weaponized the intelligence community and the DOJ and the FBI and the fake news media and big tech to basically be their political henchmen. That's what it is. The Obama administration and the previous administrations, you got to remember, this is decades in the making. We're talking about all the way from Bush 1, right, to Obama, to Hussein. You have that much time for them consolidating power, infiltrating all the different departments, Department of Justice, Department of State, the FBI, the CIA, even the NSA with Edward Snowden. Yeah, they stole that information and leaked it. I wonder why, right? They did everything they could, and then they infiltrated the media and they infiltrated big tech. And then there was a switch that went off right as President Trump won the office, because they knew he was going to destroy decades of criminal corruption and treason against this nation, right? And here we are. We can expose it all by linking it all together. Think about what Gina Haspel was doing. This is back in July of 2018. He was telling us she was working as a director, or she was working as a station chief or an intelligence liaison in London, right? And that she was the one who was working there from 2014 to 2017, right when, yes, you guessed it, the former President Obama's administration was pushing the intelligence community to set up all of these FISA abuses to use to falsify documents and to lie to the courts in order to get these federal warrants to go spy on President Trump in nothing more than a fishing expedition to find dirt on your political opponents. If that's not a violation of the intent and statute of the law, I don't know what is. But fake news CNN will tell you nothing to see here, just move right along. Of course, this goes then to this Natasha Bertrand's tweet here saying, it's talking about this political article talking about the CIA director herself may get drawn into the Barr Durham probe as they investigate rumors about Joseph Mifsud. As London station chief in 2016, Haspel was briefed on the Russia-linked professor's contacts with Papadopoulos per sources. And it goes on to say, but she said it sounded like an FBI matter, according to the IG report, which redacts Haspel's name, that would seem to pour cold water on the unsubstantiated theories that Mifsud was a CIA asset, as some Trump allies have alleged. So she's not pouring water on the fact. I mean, it was an FBI, DOJ, intelligence community. All of these people were working in tandem with one another to effectively lie to and mislead the federal courts in order to get these phony search warrants, to abuse their power, to target their political enemies. And now, as we get deeper into it, it's just continuing to unfold in a way that makes it clear what happened. Q says, Haspel made director for a specific reason. Brennan tapped directly for support. Brennan classified security division spied Trump. If CIA was running black ops spying on President Trump, I guess that's what that's saying. In UK, would Haspel station chief be informed and instructed? MI6 meeting with Durham? The only way to restore faith is through transparency and accountability. Q. So why was Jane Haspel put in the position that she was? Because she knows what happened. She understands, she was a part of it. And I think President Trump's putting people in places that, you know, like we've said before, you bring somebody in a room and say, look, we know all of this information. You're either on board or you're not. We know you were following orders. Well, guess what? You got new orders now, and you're going to follow them because the people you were working for before were criminals, and we're going to right the wrongs. And the only way to do that is to restore faith in our government, in the DOJ, FBI, the Department of State, every weaponized organization and intelligence community, through transparency and accountability. And I think that's what Q is saying, and I think it's a valid point. If you guys have any other points, please leave them down in the comments. The next post here is Q pointing back to the post we just covered, saying here about Gina Haspel. It gives us this document showing her tenure, right, her career timeline. And then you look at the 2014 to 2017, chief of station in the Europe division. Well, I guess that's what Q wants us to really focus on. Where was her geolocation? It seems she was in London when they were doing Crossfire Hurricane as one of the heads of the CIA there. So her connection to all of this, I think, has more to do with the fact either she was there and realized that the FBI was using these intelligence sources as supposed witnesses, when in reality, you know, saying that Joseph Mifsud was a Russian agent and then going after him, or going after Carter Page and saying he was talking to Russian agents, when they're the ones like pushing these people. These are their own assets, their own intelligence assets that they're sending in, right, who already have connections with foreign governments, and they know that, and then saying that that's, so they hire guys like Mifsud, whoever, and I'm not saying they, I'm talking about the intelligence, the Five Eyes, right? So they'll hire this guy, they know he's talking to Russians, then they send him in the Trump campaign, they go, oh look, there's a Russian agent in the Trump campaign, we need to go investigate. They set President Trump up, and nobody wants to talk about it. It's so simple. The next one here talks about the DNC servers, and I think this is a big story as well. It says DNC servers, CrowdStrike. Did Russia break into DNC servers? Why did FBI accept indirect evidence regarding DNC servers? Hack break-in by CrowdStrike in Ukraine. Why didn't FBI directly investigate DNC servers in hand? Download speed, internal data, download versus remote, one. Then it gives this Real Clear Politics article, which actually talks about Assange giving this interview with Sean Hannity, saying that, oh yeah, well, the source for WikiLeaks was not the Russian government. And I think we all can guess who it was. A lot of people have speculated it was Seth Rich, who was a staffer at the DNC who was upset with what he saw happening to Bernie Sanders because he supported Bernie Sanders. Now, I don't support Bernie Sanders. I think he's a socialist, and he would probably destroy this country just as bad as most Democrats who are running now would. But it's amazing to me that nobody looks into his suspicious death, a random murder in the middle of the night, 4 a.m. He's walking home, and it's not even a robbery, just a hit. For no reason, I guess, other than the fact that they knew it was possible he was the one who gave the information to WikiLeaks. But with that being a possibility, just keeping going further, it says, it gives the one in the kill box, and it says, how does one provide content to WikiLeaks? Computer to computer, person to person, 1. Personal communication secured prior to release, 1. The sources, feeder, recipient, interning for the DNC can be deadly. I wonder who that's referencing. Does CrowdStrike possess government capability to trace break-in routes? Does CrowdStrike possess government capability to read foreign intercepts? Possible to layer insert code CrowdStrike to designate intruder intended target, NSA data bridge, DNC CrowdStrike, bolt data collection, matters of national security, highest levels. FISA is only the beginning. The hole is deep. Q. So try to understand what Q is saying here. I mean, most of you probably get it really clearly, but just to kind of clarify, what Q is saying here is that we have direct evidence, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, that seems to point to the fact that Seth Rich took the information on a jump drive, then gave it by hand to WikiLeaks, who then was, releasing that information, which exposed the DNC. But that CrowdStrike, it was taken as the ultimate authority on how the whole Russia thing went down when, Q's asking pointed questions here. Does CrowdStrike possess government capability to trace break-in routes? Does CrowdStrike possess government capability to read foreign intercepts? No, they don't. And even if they had some capability similar to that, we have something that would probably supersede it, that would be able to show how there was layers of code inserted in order to designate who the intruder was, because the intended target was obviously Russia. They wanted to frame it to look at as though Russia hacked the emails, regardless of the facts. I guess you can go fruit of the poisonous tree here, but at the same time, nobody's come forward and denied the validity of the emails themselves. So that is all you really need to know about the criminality and corruption that we've seemingly exposed to those emails being not being a point of contention, but rather how we got this information. It's ignore the treason. We need to figure out who leaked this info and how it was stolen. It's crazy. But that's what we're up against here. And Q says FISA is only the beginning. So we have big, shells coming in, bombshells coming in. And as you saw, even CNN is panicking, in my opinion. So the next one here is this, obviously, picture of James Comey here in the forest with a Pepe the Moab treason bomb coming in. And he says, "Oh, Lord." And, of course, it's saying there's going to be bigger slam dunk charges coming because one of the memos that came out said that they're not going to refer him for criminal charges. Well, this may be what comes out that leads to, I think, the bigger slam dunk that Q alluded to all the way back in August of this year, 2019. So we're getting there. I mean, these things take time. Obviously, investigations take time. Indictments in trials and investigations, everything takes time. So that's, I think, where we're at. And that was an anon saying future will prove past. And then Q responds with this. Picture of Andrew McCabe and James Comey both holding Hillary Clinton's book and James Comey's book himself. And in jail, obviously, with some Depend diapers here. So think about what this is saying, though. Q's posting this, giving us this graphic of them in this, jail cell. Obviously, it's like a meme. But think about the message that's being sent there. And it reminded me of this post by 3 Days, 3 Nights over on Twitter. Great Twitter account. If you guys aren't following 3 Days, 3 Nights, you guys should find them on Twitter and follow. But they talk about the book deals, because we talked about that in one of the last videos where we talked about these major Pearson publishing book deal where Obama gives Pearson $360 or $50 million in U.S. taxpayer money to do the new Common Core textbooks. And then all of a sudden when he leaves office, a subsidiary of Pearson Publishing gives Obama a $65 million book deal, right? But it says here, Comey and Biden's book deals came from Flatiron. Brennan's book deal came from Celadon. McCabe's book deal came from St. Martin's. What do all these book deals have in common? Easy. The parent company rolls up to Pearson Publishing, who gave Obama his $65 million book deal. And it's just when you start connecting the dots, that's what Q's been saying about we have to look at the book deals and understand what that was all about. Just another way to funnel money. It's another example of their criminality. President Trump isn't doing any of this, yet he's being attacked every day for the crimes of others. And it's a disgusting perversion of our justice system, but hopefully we'll continue to fix it as we move forward. The next one here is a report. This is the new report, raises big questions about last year's DNC hack from 2017, Patrick Lawrence article that talks about basically the fact that they know that the speed at which everything was downloaded and transferred in how it got to WikiLeaks would not line up with a hack by a outside foreign government, because they would have to hack in via the internet, and you can't download at the same speeds that you would download, say, if you plugged a jump drive into your computer and just loaded it right up onto there, which is what people say that Seth Rich may have done. So if you think about it, Q wants us to look at this particular post because they highlight this from the article saying, Orange Skater's first decisive findings made public in the paper dated July 9th concern the volume of the supposedly hacked material and what is called the transfer rate, the time a remote hack would require. The metadata established several facts in this regard with granular precision. On the evening of July 5th, 2016, 1,976 megabytes of data were downloaded from the DNC servers. The operation took 87 seconds. This yields a transfer rate of 22.7 megabytes per second. These statistics are matters of record and essential to disproving the hack theory. No internet service provider, such as a hacker, would have had to use in mid-2016 was capable of downloading data at this speed. Compounding this contradiction, Guccifer claimed to have run his hack from Romania, which for numerous reasons, technically called delivery overheads, would slow down the speed of a hack even further from maximum achievable speeds. So basically, long story short, like I said, they don't think it was, the studies find it wasn't done over the internet, it was done in person, which means it had to have been somebody working there. The last one finally here is, most of you guys will know, if you don't, this is the character played by Jeff Bridges called the Dude, in the Big Lebowski, and it's kind of him. It's a meme, right, where it says, "Let me get this straight: Biden blackmailed Ukraine with $1 billion in tax dollars to drop an investigation into his son, and Democrats want to impeach President Trump simply for asking if it was true." And that's literally what this is. And then Q points us to this Twitter post by this USA Book Club, Susan Kennedy. Thank you, Susan. But it says his corrupt father at Joe Biden should be under criminal investigation too. At Joe Biden held back $1 billion until the Ukraine fired the prosecutor investigating his son's company, then lied about it. Hashtag corrupt, hashtag quid pro Joe. Now I'll show you the clip. It's a very famous clip, over 1 million views, of former Vice President Joe Biden bragging to the Council of Foreign Relations about the quid pro quo extortion that he put against the Ukrainian government to remove a prosecutor who was investigating the company that his son was making millions at.
For loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
So there you have it. Joe Biden, in his own words, talking about how he withheld $1 billion in funding and aid to Ukraine in order to get the prosecutor fired who was investigating his son's company. You know, just nothing to see here. Let's keep going after President Trump because he asked about it. Let's go down that path and see where it takes us. I'm sure it'll end well. Q just says, easy to understand. Q. So, yeah, it is very easy to understand, and I appreciate the information, and I hope you guys appreciate the information as well. That's pretty much where we're going to wrap it up. A few more things before we go. Watch these videos, share them on your social media, get the word out that way. You guys know there's a content suppression algorithm. It's crazy. Leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about all this. So let me know. I want to hear from you. Please share that with me. Also, don't forget this video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. You can download this for free using the link in the description. You download it, install it, and run it on your computer just like you would any other internet browser. Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox. You can replace those with a better browser called Brave. And when you do that, it'll actually make a contribution to this channel. And why is Brave better? Well, it's free. It blocks ads. It makes your internet experience that much better. And it's got a built-in Tor browser and VPN, all types of good stuff. So I really encourage you guys to use the link in the description to download it, install it, and run it on your computer today. Now, also, you can come find me on Twitter at JustInformedYou. We can have a conversation outside the channel. That's a great way to connect. I have a Just Informed News, the official website for Just Informed Talk. A great place to come together and get more information, from links to different stuff to the latest videos on the channel here. Also, I have bitshoot.com/justinformedtalk, the official, or one of the officials, I should say, pages for backup for the channel here. If you guys want it, come subscribe over here. Helps out the channel big time. I'm trying to work out some kinks with posting over here. BitChute's still got a few problems, but it's one of the only alternatives out there that we really have. And it's really sad, but if you guys want, come over here, subscribe. It helps the channel out big time. Also, there's a couple other ways you can help out. Patreon, patreon.com. You guys have kept this channel alive and going and growing. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope that you guys know this is a monthly donation. You set it and forget it. No, you're helping create content here. You've seen what they've done to this channel. They've taken away monetization. They've taken away 60, 70% of my reach and views, and it's all been sewn into this Orwellian fascist algorithm that's being put up by big tech to try to silence independent thought and try to replace it with the corporate narrative that they want to force down your throat and make you believe whether you like it or not. So you guys supporting this channel keeps it alive. Thank you so much for that support. Also, I have a GoFundMe set up. If you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, links to everything will be in the description. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. I have a very important verse here I want to share with you, and then we'll talk about it. It's out of the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 1 through 6. It says, "Now, we who are strong have an obligation to bear the weaknesses of those without strength, and not to please ourselves. Each one of us must please his neighbor for his good, in order to build him up. For even the Messiah did not please himself. On the contrary, as it is written, the insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. For whatever was written before was written for our instruction, so that through our endurance and through the encouragement of the scriptures, we may have hope. Now, may the God of endurance and encouragement grant you agreement with one another according to Christ Jesus, so that you may glorify the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ with a united mind and voice." And there you go. That's my message in a nutshell. I think one of the things that we really let the media and these big tech corporations and the politicians and everyone else, win at, in some regard, some of the time, is in dividing us, in making us think that it's us versus them. Sometimes I have to really take, stock of everything and rethink how I approach everything, because I have to remind myself that I'm here as a servant of God. I'm here doing my best to honor God and live a Christ-like life. And in doing that, you have to try to reach out and show others that, what you're doing is not necessarily to hurt them, but rather to help us all. And I think that is a big trap that a lot of us fall into. I know I do. So hopefully those words kind of maybe influence you or spiritually reinvigorate you to go out and reach across to the other side and try to help those who are, not doing so well, who are believing these lies, who are bolstering and pushing these lies. It's a tough thing for me. And as a Christian who is imperfect, who understands that, I understand that, life's about growing and learning. So, and becoming stronger and wiser, and I pray for that every single day, and I pray for it for not just myself, but for all of us out there. And I hope that we all can continue to seek that in our lives and to do unto our neighbors. as we would want unto ourselves. So that's my message for you. I want to say thank you for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. Remember, come here, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Hit it, punch it, tap it, bop it, twist it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.